That's a really weird animation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are in October, and this is our community open call for October, the October session. It's a pleasure to have you guys here, as always. And also today we have Gabriel Engel, our CEO. We might
Hello.
have Rodrigo. We can't confirm that right now. Sorry,
Rodrigo, I
Rodrigo
believe, has a
Nascimento.
conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but he may be able to join, so we can expect him or not. We also have our chief of opportunities, Singly. Hello, Singly. And also we have our VP, Vice President of Product, Mr. Christopher Skelly. And I'm Duda Nogueira, the community manager here at Rocket.Chat. I'm the host, and also we have our tech superstar, Debdut Chakraborty. Hello. And moderating this chat, we have our community lead, Mr. Flores Van Giel. Okay. Uh, and It's a pleasure to have you guys here. So we are changing the dynamics here of the open call a little bit. We are going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, some quick notes that we have here. Uh, we have the Hacktoberfest, okay, and it's a very nice event, right? We're having see you have see the list there, and the idea is that if you go to our repository right now, you can see a lot of issues that is tagged with a good first issue or Hacktoberfest. And please we have this website there, rocket.chat slash Hacktoberfest. Join there. It's very fun. You can learn. If you doesn't know how to program, or if you want to learn about that, we are there to help you. And also we are going to have another event. We have a huge agenda for this session. I'm going to be at Latinoware in Foz do Iguaçu. It's a very, very nice event. It's a huge event. I'm going to have not only a talk there, but I'm going to do a workshop, a 4 hours workshop. It's only for 20 persons, so if you're going to be there, it's going to be very good. The talks are going to be also on the website. It's going to be a hybrid event. It's very, very nice. I hope to see you there. If you're going there, let me know. If you're watching this on YouTube, uh, please be there. I'm going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And for November, we are going to have a special event that we have been crafting, and Flores has been working on that. It's the Rocket Gov Hackathon. It's going to be from November, from the 7th to the 21st. There's the website there. We're going to leave all of them on the description, so don't worry about that. And it's rocketgov-hackathon.eu. It's very nice. We have some prize, we have some challenge, and for everybody that, if you know how to code, or if you doesn't know how to code, if you're a designer, if you are just want to create some ideas and discuss that ideas, it's open. It's very good. It's very, very fun to participate. So we expect you there. It's going to be a pleasure to have you there. And also some other call for help here. So we have our beta testers channel. We are just released the 5.2 version, and now we are at the release candidate for the 5.3 version. So if you want to help us test, if you like going on the first colors, join the channel. We have some tips on how to test this release candidate versions there, and we have a close, and you're going to have a close contact with the team in order to uh, express, to uh, some issues that you might find. We really appreciate that. It's very interesting. And also we have our YouTube channel, and a lot of the last sessions, not only the sessions from the open community, the open community call is there, but all the other events that we produce, what we are doing, what we are participating. So check our YouTube channel there. And I think is the last one now. Our own Douglas Gubert, which is a Rocketeer and works here with the App Engine, participated on a very nice podcast. The name of the podcast is Breaking Chains. It's very nice. It's from Kim Lane from The Postman. It was a very nice podcast in talking about the privacy and how we deal with privacy, and how we take privacy and data sovereignty very seriously here at Rocket.Chat, and what we are doing with that. It's very interesting. Participate on that. And okay, that's it for our notes right now. And now we're going to be talk about as you probably know, we had the last year of the community open call, and we tried to do on a format that we are presenting a lot of stuff. And now we had some discussions with Debdut, with the team, and we have been changing these a little bit. And Debdut is going to be talking about those changes. Mr. Debdut.
Hello, everyone. I'm just like looking through the people list, like so many people. Hey, Frank, uh, Palani, Nishant, Will. Like, oh my God, we have some really like known people here, right? Anyway, all right. Let's talk about some of the changes, right? So, first of all, I think I want to mention why we are kind of making these changes. Um, for a while now, this open call, the format and the presentation and a lot of things, we have gotten a lot of feedback from the community, and it felt like this is becoming a lot more like an event rather than an open call, right? We don't want to get away from the purpose of this event. Oh, I just called it an event. Sorry, it's not an event. We don't want to move away from the purpose of this call, right? The purpose of this call is to get like closer to the community, listen to the community, get some feedbacks in, share some things with the community, right? That's the whole point of it, not to just make it an event or like a webinar. So we got a lot of feedback. We kind of took them together, analyzed it, and then we decided to make some changes to it. Now, I can't say whether these are the final changes or not. There could be more changes coming down the road, but these are the ones we will be acting on, moving forward. Even starting from today, some of the things we already made, like changed already, you're gonna see today. So, first of all, as I already mentioned, feedback input. So, Duda, if you can share the link. So, one of the things that we are doing is with Open Call, we're gonna use open.rocket.chat as the primary like hub, right? The conversation hub. Everyone who is participating in this open call, let's use open.rocket.chat. We have created a separate channel for you guys. We join in. Everyone, all of us are going to be there. So if you want to kind of follow up about some item in the future, like let's say we talked about something and then we diverge into something else, we can still follow up on that and talk about it in detail in that channel, right? If you have some question that you want to ask or discuss anything regarding anything overall, you can kind of talk into that. If you have a feedback to share, you can use the channel as that medium, right? So that's number one. We want to get kind of collect more feedback in anything that we do, whether you guys like it or not. If that feels a little off, anything positive, negative, I would welcome more negative feedbacks than positive, in all honesty. So if you have anything, just share in there. You could DM me personally, you could DM Duda, you can DM Flores, you can DM the whole community team altogether, right? Or you can use the public forum, or I mean public channel, to kind of discuss with other community members. The other item is, this is a similar thing. We want to become more personal, right? Right now, the platform you're seeing is Livestorm, and this is more focused on like webinar or some events rather than on a call, right? For example, when I'm working and I have to talk to Singh or Chris about something, I call them and I use something like Google Meet or Jitsi or Big Blue Button, right? Because that's the tool for a call that feels more personal. So we want to change that. We want to make the call more personal so that every participant actually, when they're talking to us, they feel like they're talking to us as a person, not to a host, right? Someone who is just presenting something, right? So that is another change we're making, and that's probably going to be starting next session. So the way we are going to kind of communicate that is, first of all, as I said, the open channel, that's going to be the primary medium. We're going to use that channel to communicate any changes regarding anything about open call, and we might even use that regarding anything other that is community facing, right? So it's not just for open call in specific, it's about our community altogether. So that's the first medium. Other than that, we can use Twitter, right? Emails, everything that we have, we could use that. And we're gonna send you, the updated link for the Big Blue Button room, so we can kind of get started, starting even the next session. I'm looking at my list here. My memory is getting really bad. I feel like I'm 50.
Need to
Sometimes,
sleep more, man.
sometimes like sometimes even Sing like tells me like, hey, you forgot this. That's just all right. Third item is more open to community. Again, this is all about like open source and just talking about stuff like openly, transparently. So the next change is going to be focused on conversation, right? Open call altogether is going to be about conversation. So in this call, the our primary goal is going to be talking to our community. So if you have any questions, anything, right, just bring it out to us. And one of the one of the very important things that I actually shared with some of our contributors today is that this open call, it doesn't have to be just about like Rocket Chat as a product, it's roadmap. Okay, so you have with you right now, Duda, you have Singh, you have Gabriel, Chris, you have this huge group, and even Rodrigo, who is not with us today, but hopefully will be in the next session. You have like this experienced group of people, and I would welcome any kind of question, right? Even regarding Rocket Chat would be ideal. It's a Rocket Chat open call, but at the same time, if you want to just talk about in general open source, you have Sang, you have Gabriel, right? So we are going to welcome any kind of question that you might have. It's about our community, and in Rocket Chat, I think I love this the most about Rocket Chat and how we at least try to manage our community and the contributor community especially, is that we drive them towards open source, not specifically to just Rocket Chat, right? If you want to contribute to Rocket Chat, you have a bunch of products, go on in, definitely contribute, we're going to help you. But if you want to contribute to any other open source projects, definitely, right? It's about open source. We guide them to for any kind of open source projects they might want to kind of contribute. So in general, in the open call, if you want to even talk about open source, the nature of Rocket Chat's open source nature, anything related to that, everything is welcome. So uh, conversation first, everything else later. Okay. Third item, very special, no agenda. Okay. So we're not gonna have we're not gonna have crazy agenda like, okay, first federation, next we're gonna talk about apps engine, next, how many new apps we're gonna develop. No, that's not to say we're not going to be organized. We're still going to be organized. We are hosting what, like 50 people in a call at the same time every month. So there has to be organization. So I don't want anyone to kind of confuse organization with agenda. We're not going to have an agenda as in it's going to be again a free medium, like an open medium for anyone to ask any kind of questions regarding Rocket Chat, open source Rocket Chat. That's the point, right? But that's not to say that we're not going to be organized. We're still going to be extremely organized. Next item, come on, document. All right. Um, yeah. So I think we already talked about the open team, like the channel we already have. I hope you guys are joining already. That'd be awesome. And if the other item I'm gonna share is we used to have this, I forgot the name, like monthly, what was it? Monthly, Duda, help me.
What?
Duda, help me.
What?
Monthly special community member. What was the title?
Yeah, community member of the month. Yeah.
Community member of the month. Sorry. We
Yeah.
used
Hello,
to have.
Phil. Well,
We
the
used to
problem with the community member, not everybody was like uh, comfortable enough to come here and talk,
yeah,
and that's hard, but it's okay. Maybe we can have a community member of the month, like only talking about them, but not everybody was very
yeah.
happy, like comfortable to do that. It's okay.
One of the things about the community member of the month that was a little tricky to manage was that we were having someone special. That's the definition, right? Someone special every single month. But we want to put more value into a title like that, right? Like it doesn't have to be like community member of the month. We could call it like a special community member, right? Or extremely valuable community member. Whatever it is, we'll think of that. But having that, I did not promise that. Okay. Someone kick Chris out. All right. Oh, this is recorded, right? Come
It is.
on.
I think you did promise it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So next, where was I? I just screwed up my own thought process. Okay, yeah, community member of the month. So the problem is that it's every month it kind of loses its value, but we definitely want to put more value into that, and that's why we decided that we're not going to have any community member of the month, and there's not going to be any schedule to it, right? Like we're not going to say that each year we're going to come up with someone each 6 months or each 7 months. No, we're not going to have any each xyz months. How we are going to decide like who is very special community member, that depends on some of the existing contributors, like long-term contributors who are like our family overall, right? The kind of like, because we have a really good relationship with some of them. So those are the people, and the community team, because we are in contact with the community quite a lot, like every single day. So we're gonna notice, who is that person over time. It's kind of like invite only thing, and we're gonna decide when we invite and when it's the right time to get someone in, right? So we want to put like quite a lot of value into this title, and this is not just an empty title. Like this person will probably get some special swag from Rocket.Chat to kind of, there is a word in English that I forgot. If you remember.
Perks.
Yeah, perks. Yeah, exactly, perks. There is another word. Getting bad at English.
Swags, perks. You're too nervous, man.
I probably really use italki right about now for English.
Good.
Uh, so yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. The community advocate or special community member, we're going to decide on the name. We'll probably share it in the next session, or maybe the next after the next session. That's all right. And yeah, that will happen. We'll decide on someone that will be like a leader for our other community members, like guide them into our community, guide them into our contributor community, contributing to different projects. We have a ton of them. Sometimes I forget how many we have. Uh, so that's essentially what this important person, right? So like this extremely valuable person would be, and that's how we're going to kind of handle it. So those are kind of the small updates about how we are changing the open call. I most likely forgot some items. There were.
Recording.
Oh yeah. Recording. Yeah. Thank you, Singh. I have D&D turned on, and you probably messaged me already. I know, but anyway, recording. Yeah, that's another item that we're gonna change in the future. We're gonna probably stop recording at some point, right? We want to give everyone more chance at talking about different things, so we're gonna stop recording. Everyone can freely turn on their camera and talk about different things again freely with us. Okay, so that's another item. We haven't yet decided on how we're gonna when we're gonna kind of change that, how we're gonna change it, because we also used to have a product update session. We are probably gonna change that to something else, a different.
A different moment, right?
A different thing altogether. So that's going to be recorded and put on YouTube. Enterprise updates, community updates, everything together on YouTube. A very different thing. Those who are interested in that can look at the recording. But the open call will be a call with just the participants who choose to join it and interact with us. And that's it. I'm pretty sure it took way longer than I should have. Yes,
No worries.
like he didn't even have a filter. He's just saying yes in the recording.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess in summary, it's like this community open call is actually serving two purposes, right? We are doing product updates and telling people about future roadmap. At the same time, you wanted to have a conversation, so you end up not doing any of those particularly well. And I think the reasoning is, let's have the open call to feel more like a call. Like it doesn't need to be recorded. We'll be available to have an open conversation when everybody have their cameras on, and more of a meeting. And then, but we obviously we understand the purpose of having a product update and a list. But those could be just pre-recorded, more scripted and organized, just so you can publish the product update. And ideally, maybe what you can do is we schedule one after the other, so people see the product update, and it can be one of the topics and discussions that people can bring to the community open call. But those then will be as a separate moment, and allow us to do a little bit more. Maybe when talking about a product update, do screenshots, do a little bit more editing in trying to show things, and then we can do the product update better and the call better, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like it very much.
Awesome ideas. One final thing, just real small. This is something. Now, this is not like a real like that kind of change, but essentially, like in the open call, we're probably gonna have some really more technical conversations happening. Unfortunately, Rodrigo is not here. He had some things he had to tend to, but next session, most likely, right? More technical stuff, probably things that will go over even my head. So that's okay. All right, I'm gonna shut up now.
Okay, so now probably you are here. You want some questions, right? So we have gathered some questions, and now we are going to have some talk with Gabriel and Christopher Skelly. But if you want to send your questions already, all right, for this session, or if you want for the next session, you can send the questions already. But we do have some questions here. Okay, so Gabriel, if you want to have some introductions, and Christopher, before we get into the questions.
Yeah. No. Well, first, we've been talking a little bit, but like, thanks everybody for joining. Hopefully, you guys will appreciate that we are always trying to evolve and improve, even on the way we are dealing with the community, the way we're trying to be transparent and engaged. So kudos for the community team to realizing that after this year we could do things better, and I think that would be a good improvement. On our side, I can one thing that I would be able to touch a little bit on the topic. We have the version 5.3 coming out with a few things, a few fixes. Like we can talk more about details, but one thing that we're starting to get very excited internally, it's with the release of 6.0. And that's going to be our some people are calling our 60th version yet. And it's going to be a version where we're trying to finally reach a lot of the milestones on the product roadmap to put together there. So I'm not going to make much promises. Still, we just came out of a planning session of what we can include on the 6.0. We're building a big challenge for ourselves, so not wanting to plan promise much, otherwise Chris will call me immediately after that and I'll talk. But it is exciting. We are really gearing and trying to get the troops behind of making the best Rocket.Chat yet in 6.0, and I think there's room for the community also, obviously, to share what are the things that, if you could choose, like, I want this thing to be fixed or done, or this is one of the problems that annoys the most, we'll look at with a lot of open hearts, because we want the version 6.0 to be a version to remember. So we can go to I'll pass on to Chris. We can your view on.
Yeah, and kind of building on that, and Debdut, thanks for the intro. I can't compete with your energy on it, but I love the core message of making sure that this is a true open conversation and not a presentation. We have the product sessions for that. There are plenty of other venues. So in relation to that, as Gabriel was saying, as we dig into all the details on release 6.0, we are very committed to delivering the architectural updates that are needed, the stability that we want to have. And there's a seesaw in here that we're trying to manage on scope. So a good example is we have several initiatives underway that improve the architecture, whether it's migrating remaining Blaze components to React, or TypeScript migration. Those are big steps that will give us a cleaner foundation. But the changes that we go through to get there, also one of the things we've seen, and I think it may even be a topic today, is those changes themselves that get us to a cleaner code base that's more well structured have introduced some regressions. So what, as Gabriel said, we just finished up a session digging into the planning on 6.0, and we're trying to find the balance between those things so we can get through those architectural shifts in a really well controlled, verified, validated manner, without having some of the bumps. Everyone has some bumps here and there that we've had recently, where doing those completing those steps, which are very much needed, have actually introduced some regressions. So anyway, just a balance that we're working through, and we're always interested in input from this group as we go through that.
Cool. We have a great question actually in the chat from Tony.
Okay. So the question is, are there any plans to get the reactions to show the real names instead of usernames in the new message template? And the reason, I'm just reading for the recording, and the reason, this is a very long-term issue in Rocket.Chat that started several years ago, already in the old message template too. It causes our users daily grievance by almost completely obfuscating the names of the user in the reactions. And indeed, that real name stuff, and I think that can Dig, we were talking about a related thing, and it's indeed some issue that I think it make Debdut can go in deep on that.
Yeah, so this is something I actually came across a couple of weeks ago. There was a PR that was supposed to fix this, and the approach did not seem quite right, so I discussed it with one of our architects, Diego Sampaio. Essentially, the problem is a little bit more technical, to kind of solve it. I am not going to go into too much of a detail, but essentially to fix it, the architecture team is thinking about one way to do it, but that's going to come in pretty late in the future. I got a message from Diego actually this morning that we're probably going to implement one solution, but we are not sure how costly it's going to be. We're going to run some tests on that. It's actually a really costly function to implement. So that's something we're going to test internally. And once we are done, we're going to roll it out, right? It's just like, it's some old design decisions that we made that is basically still in there, right? And it's not exactly extreme, that easy to fix.
Can you go into a little bit of the technical detail, because I think our audience
they will like it. Yeah.
So, the way we basically right now save reactions is that for each message we have a reactions array, or essentially that's actually an object. So for each reaction, we list the user names in an array, right? The way it was fixing it, the PR at least, was adding another, another array, which is name, with the list of real names, right? And that kind of schema just doesn't feel right, first of all. And secondly, in case someone changes their name, how are we going to basically change the name for every single reactions, right? That becomes a little challenging and a little bit hacky to my liking even. The ideal solution would be to instead just store the user IDs, right? And then dynamically take whatever field we need, real name, username, whatever we need directly from the user ID. That also kind of gets a little costly. The solution we probably are thinking is using some sort of a server-side cache, but don't quote me on that. Right? Do not quote me on that. And
cool.
Right now, we also have a function in our code base called normalize message for user. I think that's the name, or normalize message, either one. What that does is basically it goes through the messages, and for each similar field, like start message, mentions, those kinds of things, it just converts either the username to real name, if the setting is on, which is use real name, like UI use real name. So that's something that we are thinking about, just implementing that for the reactions as well. But as you can imagine, a message can have so many reactions. so many reactions, like hundreds and 200s of reactions, let's say, right? So each time a message object is sent from backend to frontend, it would have to just resolve for each username the real name. So if there are 200 ones, then it will be like, well, it doesn't have to be 200, it could be just one single one. But essentially,
especially
yeah.
Especially on Open, where we had a daily
That's the
question
biggest
on how do you feel? How do you feel today about your? And then they use emoji as a reaction, and we get like 200 of them.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
that's the
explanation.
biggest issue. That's why
I think that that serves.
We even thought about just changing the schema. I mean, ideally that would be the best situation, but considering a server like Open, a migration of that scale would just, break it.
Yeah,
just break it.
And Immune just had another question.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So Emil, a good friend of us, is asking about what is the future of running a multiple instance in Community Edition, because
Yeah.
I think this comes from the message when you're running multiple instances. You can see a message that it's not working as expected or something like that. So please.
Yeah. So with release 6.0, we are moving away from multiple instances in community. So our go forward scaling architecture will be microservices, and so the team has been putting a lot of work into microservices. The beta tag is coming off. And with 6.0, multiple instances for Community Edition will not be supported. We will continue to allow for multiple instances for Enterprise Edition users using an updated inter-server communication mechanism that essentially mirrors our microservices communication. So that's the direction that we're going in. As we've been, Gabriel and I, just as you mentioned before, we finished a call on the planning for this. One of the things that we'll be making sure to do also is any existing community workspaces who are impacted by this, please reach out. By the way, I can't read all these, but Duda, please, just jump in if there are other items that you address as we're going through. But please reach out to us, because if you have an existing Community Edition workspace that is impacted, and we'll have it, as Gabriel was saying, we'll have a long verification period where we will have pre-access to version 6.0, then we would like to hear from you and have a discussion about that. So that is the direction that we're going in as of right now, and happy to comment further on that as needed.
What's the next question?
Yeah.
Ask more questions. Come on, people. More questions.
Oh, did we answer all the list? I know that there was a question about, let me get the list in front of us.
There was a question on global search, I think, that
yes,
had been sent in, and so global search is in beta right now, and it's been sitting there as of right now. It's not. It has not been scheduled or prioritized for further work. Gabriel, you and I had kind of traded some messages on that earlier, and Debdut looks like Anton wanted to discuss. Be happy to talk about some of the specific details on it. As of now, it hasn't been prioritized, but we. Sorry, I'm just reading through this. For getting to production ready. So as of right now, we do not have a date. Gabriel, when you brought this up earlier, and I won't speak for you, but you had raised this as something that you'd like to prioritize in relation to upcoming.
Yeah, we more and more we understand that it's a feature that was developed in collaboration with Deutsche Bahn. And the guys from forgot the name. There was this company working with Deutsche Bahn, and was very, and on the end, very specific. End up being serving for their chat call exactly. But we do understand that it's a very important feature that needs to cover not just one engine on how to build it. We wanted to I think it accepts a few others, but it never became something that we ended up able to create all the tests and make it work and be part of it. And something that we're not the users of this ourselves on open to see like the level of like lack of engagement from our side, unfortunately. But having said that, because we had all this stuff on the priority on those refactoring initiatives to try to get out of the way. Now that we are finishing, and with the 6.0, we want to be able to turn that page, finishing a lot of this legacy in the code. And there is even some code that touches on the search, on the global search. We understand that it would be a good opportunity start next year, the first half of the next year, to start relook at that. Maybe we're like refactor to be a more intrinsically part of the component, giving it a more prominent space on the UI where people can actually search for them rather than being hidden inside a sub panel of a channel. So there's a lot of things that we want to do with it to be more like Slack, which has a really good search. But realistically, we don't have time to work on that on the first this year. So it'd be something on the first half of next year where we start to see some work on this.
Yeah, that's the reasonable window to think about. And one thing also to keep in mind and give an example is, in the past we've sometimes had contributions of functionality that's just immature, right? And so what ends up happening is we end up adding those feature sets, but then the core team doesn't have the capacity to then accelerate and bring those features out of the immature state. This is one of those. So a good example right now is of how we're trying to shift our approach is matrix federation. So as everyone remembers, a few months ago we introduced matrix federation. Instead of following that pattern of having a new immature feature and then letting it kind of improve organically, which sometimes result in something just kind of getting stuck in that immature state, we're picking those and we're following through. So you'll see with the upcoming 5.3 release, with the 6.0 release, we're significantly expanding the number of matrix federation events that we cover from the initial set, and trying to really, like I said, follow through the maturity curve on different features. Unfortunately, we do have some of the legacy ones that have been sitting, like global search. But as Gabriel said, per our other discussion, we are looking at something that's first half of 2023. And it's a common request. So I wish we could get to it sooner, but that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, that's quite a few queued up questions, actually.
Yeah.
Duda, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, we are the next from Thomas Kramer that went first, and then we can go to Frank.
Okay.
The question is, I'd like to get some of the feature requests finally in production, and I think it's indeed, I think it's one of the most reacted GitHub issue. It's about having the when you have the quote. Let me send you here to the chat the link. Oops. The link here on the chat, so everybody that is here. This is the issue. The issue is about display quoted message above the user message. Right. So when you quote a message, indeed it's kind of the quote and then the reply. That's what instead of the reply and the quote underneath that. So I think maybe you want to answer. Or I can add my 2 cents is that we are having the message parser rewriting, and also, for example, this kind of change that I could also add another issue or feature request that can be probably that's not very hard to do, but those changes are going on. We're having the new message parser, and so, for example, a lot of people are asking for themes or the dark mode, and this kind of no, we are changing a lot into the message parser, the CSS or the how you can customize that. And these affects, right, this kind of dealing with this kind of issues.
Yeah.
Do you want to add? Yeah, please.
Yeah. Well, just and Debdut, you may know more about this issue. I don't off the top of my head, but I'm gonna tag Debdut on this one to make sure that we go through to update everyone on a on a kind of new process that we have in place. We have we as I think I talked about it on a previous call. We haven't had enough attention or capacity on our GitHub issues, so we're trying to change that in the short term. I've been working with Debdut and my team to ensure that we are pulling items out of the stack and prioritizing them now that our capacity is improving a little bit. So this one in particular, we'll Debdut, let's go ahead and add that to the list for our upcoming session. Like I said, I don't know it, so I don't want to give an off the cuff answer. But also Duda, in relation to themes, we do have news. We will have news coming, we expect, with release 6.0 on managing themes overall. And so, again, as we talk about kind of our overall cleaning up the overall code base, as people know, there are a lot of different places and ways to manage colors individually. But there isn't a consistent way to manage themes, manage a color set all in one place. That's changing. It's something that I'm excited about. I know Gabriel's excited about it.
Yes.
On it. So that is coming. And I don't want to get too far into the details on that, because the team is actively working through some details on it. But it is going to be a significant step forward, and maybe in the next discussion we can get into some of the details of what the team is doing on that front.
Okay, so we are going to look into this issue. Also, it's a long-standing issue already, and one thing that I like about the themes is that once I saw a user, I think it was on the forums, and he wanted to be able to change the CSS or the presentation of Rocket.Chat specifically for one user, and that was about to improve the visual for maybe the user on this case has some was visually impaired, and he can do that from the browser, right? But he wanted to do that. He had a group of users with kind of the same vision problems, and he wanted to create that. So this is very interesting, and maybe being able to change the look and feel of Rocket.Chat through a package or something like that it's going to bring a lot. I can't imagine what our user and our community is going to do that.
Once the theming feature is in, I can even see like different tweets with people theming Rocket.Chat with Mattermost, or who likes using their color theme in Rocket.Chat.
Yeah, I have seen some doing with WhatsApp, like doing the bubbles, right? Yeah, some people like bubbles. They say, "Oh, I prefer bubbles." Like,
let's get to the next question.
Okay.
This is
So the next question from Frank Days. So, and indeed, I think I saw this also. Will the last login, the information about the last login of the user, will come back to the admin user list? Because this is very important to us to identify accounts of users who won't work with any longer for us, so that we can deactivate their account. So I think there was the last login from not only on the admin, right?
Just on the admin, actually, just for the admin one. Probably I have to double check. Probably also for the view other user something info permission. Probably that also had the last login field. But this answer is going to be really short. Yeah, I know about this one, and we detected the source of the problem. It was actually a community PR that came in quite a while ago, I think in 3.11. So about a year ago, the PR came in, and that actually broke what fields are actually getting exposed through that thing. But right now, if I remember correctly, you can kind of work around this without like V1 API, adding a field section and specifically mentioning user like last login in there. I think I haven't checked, but you You should be able to do that, because even in our admin section, the user info is using the same endpoint, and it shows last login, right? It shows last login, it's just the API. So it's kind of a workaround for now. But we are aware of this, and we are working on, I am working on this actually. I shouldn't say we are. I am actually.
Yeah, and there might be an opportunity here also, because we, on the enterprise side and the commercial license side, we added the device management capabilities that surfaces that information to admins, and so you can see what what devices each user is connected from, and last login, all of that. And Gabriel, this might be something that you want to speak to. So we live in a world of polarities in terms of inhale and exhale, and we're always striking the balance. And one of the key things that we have to think about as we add those enterprise and commercial capabilities is, as they improve, then taking core pieces and open sourcing them back. And this might be an opportunity to do exactly that, as we've added more of the device management capabilities. That basic surfacing of last login, potentially we could push that back to community also.
Yes, absolutely. I think we are always trying to strike this balance about like value and recognition on the community and what you do on the enterprise. But this one is definitely can see as something useful for admins. I don't see how we bring back absolutely.
Okay. So Debdut, let's coordinate on that and make sure that we have it via API, to read it via API, and then let's go ahead and take a look at the device management functionality and see if we can just essentially expose something, because that's a very reasonable need, obviously.
Cool.
Plus we like Frank, so,
Everybody
Big
likes Frank. Okay, so the next question from William Reisky. Any plans on allowing the community members access to the Enterprise Edition features for testing in Rocket.Chat releases to hopefully find bugs in the Enterprise before it going out to production for users? This is the question.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Will. I don't know, but I think we should have the discussion. One of the things that we've been seeing is the more eyes we can have on all parts of a release, the better that the quality of each release. So I think we're very much open to having that discussion. I just don't know what the process would look like. But yeah, happy to dig into that, Will.
That could be a really good discussion for a segue on with the discussion of the community and think on how we could do that. But I think that would be quite a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
Okay. Just remember that if you want to test the Enterprise, you can install it and have a trial version, so you can probably test it. It's not going to be on your production, but you can still give it a try and experience the features that are for Enterprise. Okay, so we have a very nice one from Palanikanan. Sorry, if I didn't pronounce your name correctly.
Just call him Palan.
Sorry, yeah, he's very active there on the community developers. The idea is the question is, can we have some more documentation on getting started to contribute? Specifically, a lot more technical blogs on how to explore the code base, and since beginners get overwhelmed by the huge code base and then miss out. So that's the question. And that's I can totally. I'm not a Node developer myself, so I can say that I'm an experienced Node developer, and it's indeed a very very complex code base, right? And just yesterday I was bugging Debdut because I was able to find a very easy to bug, and I was able to fix that. So I'm planning to record a Rocket Lab. Explaining, and also for the Hacktoberfest, right? Explaining all the process in order how I did the discovery, how I was debugging this issue, and what was the process in order to come up with the pull request on the other side. So I think this is probably a very interesting request that we can improve on this kind of more technical, and from the standpoint that someone is starting to contribute and does not know the architecture, the where the code lives and all that?
Yeah. It's a great question, an important area first to focus on. We have a really small technical documentation team. We are hiring, always worth mentioning on this call. So that is one path to consider. Duda, as you were saying, recording some Rocket Lab videos and stuff can also help quite a bit. And I wonder, Gabriel, is a little bit off the cuff, but one thing for us to think about is we haven't really spread that kind of work around the core engineering team, and there might be an opportunity to do a series of those where we can get different members of the core team to add to those videos. Really focused around, like you said, is just code orientation, what is where, and key concepts to think about. Debdut, do you have an item?
I actually kind of wanted to also tackle this question. First of all, it's like the resource thing. Like, our technical documentation team is extremely small. Like, the topic, Palan, you mentioned, it's a really broad topic. It's a really broad topic. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, our code base is like changing quite a lot, right? It's been changing for a while now, and it's changing so much. Even for me, it's kind of a little hard to keep track of those things. And obviously, I'm not like looking into it every single day. So that is one of the reasons. But the code base is like changing quite a lot, right? Overall, I would say, like, apart from what already Chris said, that's one thing. I would also say, like, Palani, for example, there is also, I think, Siddharth in the call, Nishant, you guys, you've already tackled it a little bit, right? You've already tackled it a little bit. I would say, like, if you want to kind of contribute, we already have like our developer docs repository. Just, open an article. It doesn't have to be extremely like well formed or anything. We'll be there to kind of help you out. But you just open a pull request, with whatever you have already in there. We can refine it over time. And I think that's also kind of a good step forward, working with our community to kind of get these things moving forward, right? We also have something, just small thing, is that recent code base changes are overwhelming. Exactly, that's totally correct. Moving forward, I think why am I losing my train of thought? I don't know. Moving forward, we also are thinking about kind of restarting our dev.to account, adding a couple more articles in there. So, we might also kind of put more effort into that. It's really like a small project that me and Singh kind of thought about a while ago. So we might even also kind of put some efforts into that. Maybe Duda, the video you're going to record, we can turn it into an article in a reading format for the others to read. That could be something as well. I also have like a 20-minute video. Sorry, Singh, go.
But I think the most potent would be what Chris was suggesting before, actually.
I'm just adding to it.
Gabriel could actually commit some of our core guru resources in kind of at least doing the top level how to code with Rocket.Chat.
I know,
because I think
something, but again, I'm not 100% sure that the architecture team will be documenting some of our architectural points. This is just the tip of what I know, no more than that, right? So that's something that's kind of already being discussed as far as I know. So Giovanni might know more about this item.
And also we have a great deal of content and people that can help because we had the Google Summer of Code, and we have a getting started point there. It helps a lot, and we improved a lot. It was a great opportunity, but indeed, I think we can help the ones that want to contribute to fix an issue, or I think we can improve those documentations, and we are going to do that.
Mustafa has a very good point, actually, especially the GSOC folks who just rolled off like hacking Rocket.Chat code base for the last 6 months. So we can somehow capture some of them like as intern. Many of them are actually looking for internship opportunity to actually help document it. That may be a way of doing it. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah. And remember also that is a good way to jumpstart the process. And one of the things that we run into though is that the documents need to be reviewed and validated as well, which is sometimes harder for someone as an intern to do that. But I think it's an interesting opportunity and something that we should be considering.
All right. So I think we have one question here that it's not answered. From David Anderson. How much can a company expect to save using enterprise Rocket.Chat over Zoom?
Back to the sales.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a lot, but in all seriousness,
hello, David.
Hey, David.
Hi, David.
Hey, David.
You're muted. You're muted.
You're muted.
Probably there's a
You're
microphone. You probably need to click on the microphone icon there on the screen.
Yeah, you're muted within.
No, it's if you press M, or if you see the microphone button on the screen, you can probably click there, because it's showing us here that you're muted.
Yeah, but for the question, it's you need more details to be able to actually do a price comparison analysis. Because if you're hosting the server, for instance, a Jitsi or a video conferencing server, if it's only for 2 people, you're probably better off spending the money at Zoom if you have just 2 users or 3 users, right? If as you start to scale, the cost of actually hosting your infrastructure versus the license per user start to have a very different trade-off. So to be able to answer your question, I think it would be much easier if you can need to have the profile of how many users, what are the average usage, see all the features that you're actually using to see what plans you're talking about, and then to be able to compare. So it's not a very straightforward question if it's open like that.
I think there'd be about 30 users, and it would. I think the goal is to see if it can be used like Slack, and then I would say there's probably like 4 to 5 users that would have 3 to 4 hours of Zoom calls per day.
Okay. And David, have you tried out the existing video call integration at this stage using Jitsi or another provider?
Yes. Yeah. So I will. I'll post the server that I built as a demo for my employer, and this is not. I use this, excuse me, my personal domain, but they're going to evaluate it and decide if they want to use it in production. Mm-hmm. And I think at this point, I got it working, and I haven't got the SSL working yet, but I'm going to figure that out later. Mm-hmm. And the client was like thrilled with the experience. So I think the Jitsi plugin, Jitsi means wires in Bulgarian, and I'm cool with that. But the client was definitely like, "Why is this called Jitsi? Like, what's up with this?" So that I mean, we do have some questions about like what does end-to-end encryption actually mean, and like how do we know that we can trust Jitsi? So I'm familiar with projects like the Persia project. I have some experience with JFrog and sort of how do we verify the distribution? And at this point, I'm running this Alma Linux.
Okay.
Yeah, so happy to dig more into that with you. I think and get even the technical people who are more familiar. Singly, one of the person in the team that can help a little bit to understand. And we do know the founders, the creators of Jitsi personally. I'm trying. Emil, what is Emil from? I know that he lives in US, but his surname doesn't look like American. But anyway, it was a company that was acquired by Atlassian. Then when Atlassian actually sold their chat business to Slack already had the video conferencing solution, so ended up reselling to 8x8. So Jitsi is one of the engines that run the 8x8.com offering. 8x8 is 8x8, the number 8x number 8.com. And if you see that project, the Jitsi is the video conferencing component on that project.
Okay, great. That helps. And I would say, as far as the last name goes, my understanding of that is it's a Russian derivation. So that OV is Russian, and OVIC would be like South Slavic.
Yeah. But he lives in Austin. I think that's where the headquarters of the company is, like with the team in
Texas.
Austin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, David, for the participation. Okay, so now I think we are done with questions, or do we have any other question? I think that's it, right? Thank you for participation. Any closing notes, someone? Or are we good?
My closing notes. I just moved one of the feature requests. I'm trying to move to the Rocket.Chat repository, so we can put on the roadmap. The one about getting the codes under it, I'm just gonna try to push it because I know
that's
it's
awesome.
for the mobile already. So it's
Hands
one
on
of
Gabriel.
those initiatives.
But my closing comment is that I'm loving this new format already, which you guys all participated in, and let's hope that we can continue on with this new format next time with a platform that's even more natural for it. And so definitely come back and then bring your colleague as well, and then we can have a
Especially
live
open
session
source.
going.
I think that's Gabriel said. Open source. Gotta be open source.
Okay, so if you want to send your questions, send on the channel, send for any one of us. And thank you for participation, and see you next time.
I think anywhere you can put the question, as long as we can say it. It can be Twitter, just mention Rocket.Chat. Someone else, not me.
Yeah,
I don't have
let us know about that. And the next session is going to be November 23rd. So the same hour. So hope to see you there. Thank you. And
Siddharth, I hope that you actually had a question.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
I guess.